Who is Dylan Lloyd? What got you basically into video games and into music?
For sure, bro, for sure. Yeah. Um, well, music's always been a part of me since I was from like the womb, basically. I mean,
Hmm.
not gonna lie, like that was always the goal. That is the goal. That was always the dream. That is the dream. It'll never
Yeah.
stop. But gaming intersected, or I should say, intertwined with music when I was a kid too, because my older sister was a gamer,
Hmm.
and she was the first to show me NES. She was the first to show me like all the new systems coming out, and I would get so obsessed with whatever she was doing because she was the older sister. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, whatever she's doing, I'm gonna do it too because she's cool and I'm not. So, yeah, man. So I remember the first video game I bought was I was raised by my grandparents
Hmm.
on the south side of Chicago, and we didn't have a lot of money to say the least, but my I went to Toys R Us with my grandfather, and he I picked out Resident Evil 2 on the shelf. I said, "Can I buy this? Because I keep hearing about this game." You know?
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, of course." So that was the first game that I ever had like bought for me, and like personally that I picked out, and so that like changed my life as a gamer because then I really got into games because that was a game I loved.
Hmm.
It's my favorite game of all time, and then fast forward a million years later to the FGC, and I saw a not so well known guy named Sonic Fox who
No, yeah.
uh
Who was that? Who was that?
yeah, right. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
only
Sonic
won like
Fox.
five or I don't know how many, majors, but yeah, yeah, yeah. He's won a
Exactly,
million.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, Sonic Fox. They're one of the most influential people on my FGC life because I always
Hmm.
felt like there was always such a cool ass style that they had when they play fighting games, no matter which game it was, you know. So first it was Dragon Ball, which is where I saw him on Fighters, and so
Hmm.
I picked up Fighters, and I was like, I could have been a lot better. I was like okay-ish, decent, but it wasn't until MK11 came out that I felt like had a bearing on neutral and an understanding on less of an understanding on like or less of a stress on having to think about combos
Hmm.
and more of an easier time being comfortable thinking about neutral and placement and standing and spacing and like I okay cool I opened you up for like 20% but like I'm figuring out how to make you whiff. I'm figuring out how to like keep myself safe, and it
Yeah.
just felt like an easy game to like really like seriously initiate myself into competitive form of gaming.
Nice.
So yeah, man.
So, like, and obviously, you spoke about fighting games. Like, what got you into competing in esports yourself, and why was it fighting games? Because I assume that you played a lot of variety of games, but fighting games is your thing. You're good at it. You're really good at it.
Thanks, bro.
Why is that?
Dude, so I wasn't like I said, I wasn't really great at fighters.
Hmm.
At least I didn't think I was at all. But
Yeah.
I think I would say the catalyst honestly is COVID because I couldn't tour and I couldn't, you know, reach the fan base through those
Hmm.
years. I had to stay in and write a lot and do a lot of my actual career. Um, I had to fill in the in between time. So MK11 came out, and it was just such an easy going, like learning a new thing type of experience. Like Dragon Ball Fighters, I felt like I had to learn all these combos, and I felt like
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11 was the great initiation, like I said, for me to get into it. So I just picked it up mainly because it was COVID, but I decided to be competitive with it when I joined my first clan.
Okay.
And shout out to FTR, love them,
Mhm.
um, aka fuck the rest, as they're called.
All
But
right.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, it was the clan battles, the inner clan stuff. Like, hey, like, oh wow, people actually make a familial environment and they all compete.
Hmm.
Like so I didn't realize that these were the burgeoning stages of becoming who I would become in MK11, but like I just felt so like happy to have the opportunity. So that's how I really got into it, was play
Awesome.
a lot
Yeah.
of, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, it's always good to get to like it's always nice to get to know the background of like where people get their inspiration from for things like that.
yeah,
So Dylan, you're like a unicorn almost in the esports industry, or even you can say the music industry because you do both and you're really good at both and you're really good at music, right?
thanks, bro.
What's it like to be a musician while also being known for competing in a game like Mortal Kombat?
Right. I honestly, brother, I haven't even wrapped my head around that a
Yeah.
lot. You know, it's so funny because I think why I haven't really like wrapped my head around that is because when I'm playing MK11, I'm playing MK11, so I don't think
Hmm.
about it. When I'm making an album, I'm making an album. So it's
Hmm.
almost like Clark Kent, Superman, Bruce Wayne, Batman. They're
Yeah.
just two completely
Hmm.
separate, same person, but my mind just separates and just splits them down the middle. So
Right.
I guess for me, I don't really comprehend them as a coexisting, like a symbiotic thing. It's always just this separate thing all the time. Yeah.
And so like to get yourself hyped up for like tournaments and stuff, do you like how people listen to certain music? Do you listen to your
Yeah.
music?
That's
Does
a
Dylan
that's a
Lloyd
good
listen
ass
to
question.
Dylan
That's a
Lloyd?
good. I think my shit's too much on the soft core side, I think. But yeah, to be honest, bro, I've actually developed a tool where I don't listen to any music at all. I don't listen to
Okay.
any audio at all.
Okay. All right. That's good.
I learned
That's
that
it.
from just yeah, I just learned that from offlines. Like I didn't realize until actually this past Frosty that you could actually plug in and listen to the game. But
Hmm.
I'd rather when I'm competing, I don't hear any audio from the game. I just
Or
rely on my eyesight.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting. Okay.
yeah. So it's all I'm just honing in on what I'm looking at.
So yeah, you brought up Frosty Frostings, and we had Aztec on a little bit after that
Oh
event.
yeah.
What was that event like? Competing in that.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, Frosty. So first of all, Tech is the best code in the world. That's
Hmm.
bar none. And we're talking, and that's not an easy feat to say because like there are an incredible amount of great Total Con players,
Yeah.
Turkey and so on and so forth. But Tech is the best ever in the world,
Hmm.
and so that experience being at Frosty, which was I believe it was my first time
Hmm.
competing at Frosty, and then facing the greatest Cole in the world, who is also a family member. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a teammate. He's a Rectify helper.
Yeah, I know. When I saw that, I was just like, no, why? To meet up in the
It was
finals or
great.
something?
You know, it was funny because I have to preface it with a combo breaker. It was the first offline major I'd ever played at. I placed 33rd, but I placed
Hmm.
without playing Rambo because Rambo. So the weird thing about MK11 is there's this thing called an input window, and I don't know
Yep.
why they have this shit in this fucking
Mm,
game, but
yeah.
the input window is so annoying, bro, because it's like it's obviously accommodating to the certain character offline and their movement style
Hmm.
and the input. Like for example, Rambo. Sometimes I feel like he has to have a medium input window as opposed to a long input window because it's like, well, some of his strings are longer to come out, and I have to overcompensate. Some characters, if I want to counterpick, they have a shorter input window because their moves are quicker. So I wasn't really, you know, adept at those things, those little idiosyncrasies. So I was like losing, I was getting my ass kicked with Rambo offline. So I was like thinking, like, damn, like I need to do this better next year. I need to
Hmm.
go to Frosty. I need to learn this character, the character I'm known for. I need to do this right so I don't suck with him. And
Yeah.
so I trained for days, bro, days on end between music and so at Frosty meeting Aztec and getting my ass kicked. That was par for the course. I mean, he's the best, but
Yeah. He's
everything else I did was golden. When I won my set with Rambo, I felt so accomplished because I was like,
mhm.
who the hell's gonna go to an offline major and play this shit character and actually
Yeah.
win? I can
For
say I did
sure.
it. So yeah, man. And it ended great. Frosty was great. I placed ninth, and it was awesome, and I felt really good.
Yeah. So I mean we might have touched on this a little bit earlier. Like what came first, music or gaming?
Sure,
You would
sure,
think gaming, but I don't know.
sure. Yeah, no, it's a great question. Yeah, music came first because as a child, I was hearing it all the time in my head. I was hearing new ideas all the time. I
Hmm.
didn't know why I was hearing it. It was just always hearing new stuff. And then gaming came very shortly after that, but competitive gaming came way after, way later in life,
Mm-hmm.
in 2019 officially. Um, and then I'd say things started to turn around when this streamer named Hot Rod Crusher, shout out to
Mm-hmm.
Hot Rod, had this series called Outworld Television. And between Hot Rod and MF Slayer, who's another
Mm-hmm.
friend of mine, shout out to Slayer, their channels made me known in the FGC because I was just the guy playing Rambo and kicking people's ass with Rambo.
Nice.
So it was just kind of cool how they really, and I can't thank
Yeah.
them enough for helping me get out there as a competitor. So I love them always.
Yeah, shout out to all you great streamers.
Yeah.
Hot Rod and MF Slayer. I've seen you guys out there before. I know who you guys are, getting people out there. Um, so what if there was a soundtrack that would say that inspired your music from a game, what game would that be?
Oh my God, Resident Evil 2. I think that soundtrack
Yeah.
is fantastic. I love the save room piano
Mm-hmm.
riff. It's so fucking dope. And another soundtrack I'd have to say would be I love a lot of bits and pieces of Final Fantasy soundtracks a lot.
Okay. They have some
I
good music
also,
in Final Fantasy.
I also like this kind of elusive game that was on PS2. I believe it's Dragon Quest 8.
Okay.
Think it's part 8. I don't remember which it was, but it was for PS2. It was Dragon Quest. They had a really awesome soundtrack that I absolutely loved. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I'm always paying attention to music in games a whole lot.
Yeah, and what if you were to pick like, a couple of your songs to be put into a game? I mean, I don't know if a game if any of your music was put into a game yet. I know it's been put into some shows, right?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if
Mhm.
there was a game that you would love to have your music featured at some point, whether it's
Oh,
credits or anywhere in the game, what game would that
dude,
be or franchise? Besides
dude,
Resident Evil, maybe. I don't know.
that's crazy, bro. I know, right, bro? Yeah, man. That's a great question. I honestly, brother, I think whew, it would be dope to have some shit on NBA 2K because I love NBA 2K
Really?
or MLB The Show. I love
Oh,
MLB The
really?
Show.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a huge Cub fan. I love the Cubs, and like I just that would be dope to have music in that. Any of those two games, because I'm a sports guy too. But yeah, that would be cool. Definitely
Awesome.
doable. Definitely
Yeah.
doable.
Then like how do you all right, so how going back to comparing music and gaming, how do you balance both of those? Like,
Sure.
one day you're rehearsing for something, and one day, I don't know, you're competing in a tournament, right? I don't know. Like how do you balance that?
I love that. No, that's a great question. So, how I'll just give an example of
Hmm.
how I labbed Rambo when he first dropped, and how I've continued to do this type of labbing process since to accommodate for both my career and for MK. So this is going to sound meticulous, but I'll get up in the morning, I'll eat breakfast. The
Hmm.
first thing I do is put on MK11 because I don't work till later in the day. I set my own schedule.
Yeah.
I'll put on MK11 and I'll just do the most basic shit with Rambo just to get my fingers warmed up, go in. This is all on a Heidi
Nice.
account, mind you,
Yeah.
because every time I'm not on a Heidi account, like I'm getting called for games and stuff like that. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, I
oh.
get that.
So I just want to be in peace. I just want to be able to just be like, so I go on and I train, in the lab, and then I come out and I go into KL and
Hmm.
I just, I'd say I play maybe about hour and a half if I'm lucky,
Hmm.
hopefully two. And that's really the extent of my training for the day. And then if there's a tournament way at night after I come back from the studio, because then I got
Hmm.
to go to work from like 11, 12 to all the way to 8, 9, something like that. I'm working in studio. Then I'll play a tournament late at night. So it's MK right when I wake up, MK right before I go to sleep. Everything in between is music.
Nice. And your recent record deal, who was that with again?
Oh, thanks, bro. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a record deal with a company out of New York. They're called Factory Underground Records, and my
Hmm.
distribution is now with Virgin Music and Universal Music. So it's
That's
awesome.
great.
It's an amazing opportunity, bro, because now like all my music has power for not just Virgin Records but Universal as well.
Yeah.
And they'll handle all the admin, and they'll handle all the syncing and licensing and placements and playlist placements and stuff like that. And the record label Factory Underground, shout out to Factory, they will be helping me record the record and produce it, and you know, give me a huge studio to do all this work in and to be creative. And um, it's just a blessing, bro. I've been working for this opportunity all my
Hmm.
life.
Yeah, I know, I could tell. And now you've been posting about it on social media a lot lately, on your Instagram, on Twitter. At the time of this recording on March 27th, that your music has been getting into shows or movies. So like how I'm as for those that are curious, just out of curiosity, how do you get notified for that or you just randomly find that out?
So both. So both.
Okay.
So eventually, and I'm glad you asked. That's a great
Mm-hmm.
question, brother. Thanks, because that's a question I got a lot yesterday. So I had yesterday. I found out that I had a placement in the new season of Love Is Blind,
Mm-hmm.
and I found out through a text. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, one of my friends was like, "Yo, my wife and I were watching Love Is Blind, and your song popped up, and there you were." I was like, "Damn, baby!" I was like, but anyway, essentially, there's something called a PRO, that's performing rights organization,
Mm-hmm.
and my performing rights organization is called ASCAP,
Okay.
and they collect mechanical royalties. So mechanical meaning radio, television, film. They collect all data on where my song that's registered through them is being placed. So I would have eventually known in a royalty statement
Mm.
that my song was placed in Love Is Blind.
Okay.
If no one had
Nice.
told me, and if no one on the earth told me, and I had never seen the show, I would have eventually seen in this quarterly statement that my song was in Love Is Blind.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was inconsequential that I didn't know when it came out, because I would have eventually known.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's a cool little tidbit for those that don't know out there.
yeah,
I'm
bro.
I'm
Yeah,
always curious about that stuff myself. So,
yeah, for sure.
um, lastly, 2023 is still young. Are you looking into getting, competing in other events later, this year lands? Any plans for Dylan Lloyd? You gonna
Yeah, bro. So yeah, man. So that's a great question. I also, because I've been thinking a lot about it, and so like I said, last year I placed in Combo Breaker 33rd.
mm-hmm,
This year I placed at Frosty 9th. I
mm-hmm,
wanted to do better than I did at Combo Breaker at Frosty, and I did.
mm-hmm.
So now, to be honest with you, bro, like, um, I've had a lot of success on the online tournaments. I kind of feel like I just want to continue rocking online tournaments and
Okay.
just show up to the offline tournaments to just kind of give support.
Yeah.
Because now I'm entering a phase in my life where I have to kind of segue into the career a little bit more. I have to lean into a little bit more because
Mm-hmm.
of the contractual obligations from
Yeah.
Virgin Universal, and my licensing deal that gets me the opportunities to place on Love Is Blind and stuff like that. But that's why being able to be on tournaments online helps me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And but you best believe, bro, when MK12 comes out, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be getting
Yeah.
really into it, and I'm going to do exactly how I did with MK11. Rambo, I didn't know that I would click with him. I was a Liu Kang and Jade main prior to
Mm-hmm.
that, but I capped skill wise with those characters. I feel like I just didn't supersede where I wanted to go. But then Rambo played full screen neutral control, which I love so much. I could be able to move in and out with him. I love his mid range game. I love how like quirky his CQC is. Like, it's weird to read his up close stuff, and like I just loved everything about him, and he
Yeah.
just clicked. That's how I want to approach MK12. If I don't find a character that I click with like that, then I'm not gonna force it,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like when you click with a character, when you find a soul character like me with Rambo, or Tech with Kodal,
Yeah.
you play better, bro.
I agree.
You just play better. I don't give a damn where they are on the tier list. Rambo is the worst motherfucker ever in Mortal
It's
Kombat
man.
history, but I love him. I think he's awesome, dude. And
Yeah.
I gel, and it doesn't matter where they are on the tier list. If you feel it's that mental, you guys get it as a competitor. It's the mental.
Yeah.
Like, when you pick that character, that's you sending the chill down your opponent's spine. You're about to whoop their ass with this character. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't feel that power, they don't feel it. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm going to approach MK12. I got to find that character like I did in MK11. And it may be at launch, it may be in the DLC. We'll just see. But when it happens, I'm going to be all in.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 12. We don't know when that's gonna launch yet, but we know
No,
everyone's gonna be hyped for it. And when that happens, it's gonna be great.
it's gonna be awesome, bro. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And quickly, in your background, what concert was this? What venue?
Oh
I
yeah,
see,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
a
This
big
was a
crowd
gig.
back there.
Yeah, this was a gig. This was a gig on the East Coast I did. I believe, well, I believe the venue now is actually, I think it's the venue is closed now. This was back in mid 20 somethings. I think it was 2015, 16. So I don't remember anymore, but this was at the, it was called the
Nice.
Crocodile Rock or something. I
Oh,
forget.
Crocodile Rock. Oh, wait.
I
Oh no.
forget what it
Oh,
was called. It's near this
I know there's a
Allentown.
Crocodile Rock in Pennsylvania. Is it
Yeah,
Allentown?
yeah, right.
Oh, my dad.
Allentown.
Oh, funny story. My dad played there once before too. So,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
good venue,
that's
bro.
so
It's a good
funny.
venue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
come from a music family as well. So,
Hell yeah, bro. Do you play? Do you play?
me personally, no. My dad and uncle, they're in a band together, known as Sunless Days, and they've opened up for one of the bands of their dreams called Dokken from like the '80s, back like yeah,
Nice.
but like 14 years ago or 15 years ago now. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's crazy. I like to ask questions about the music stuff because I have a relation to that, but also video games and esports, of course, I have a
Of
bigger
course.
connection with. Yeah, no, I'm talentless. I'm very talentless, but
Bro,
that's
you're the
okay.
GOAT though. Like
I know.
look at the dope ass team that you run and all
Yeah,
the great people that you have on the team. We all love you, man, and respect you. And I
thank
gotta
you.
thank you. I gotta thank you so much, bro, just
Hmm.
for having me be a part of your team. And I'm just thankful, because
Hmm.
Rectify, I've been playing so well since joining
Yeah,
you guys too. And your name alone just gives that extra oomph for me as a competitor. So I can't thank
yeah,
you
and
enough.
we want to grow. We want to grow even more, and we're excited to have you.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate
Only
that
good things up from here.
for sure.
And with that being said, thanks for watching, everyone. And make sure to like and subscribe and comment below if you have any other questions for Dylan. And also make sure to follow Dylan at Dylan Lloyd, or is it Dylan underscore Lloyd?
Oh, for Instagram
Yeah,
or Twitter?
no, for Instagram, Twitter,
Oh yeah, for
TikTok,
sure. Yeah.
MySpace.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Not
for sure, man.
MySpace, but
Yeah, for sure, man. It's Dylan Lloyd one
Hmm.
at Instagram, and I think it's also for Twitter too. Yeah, I think.
Oh, yeah,
And
that sounds.
just I'm Googleable. Just put Dylan Lloyd in and you'll find me. So man,
Yep, there you go. And we will see you guys next time for another Rectify 101. Thanks for watching.
much love.